Hi and welcome to this video of my new kind of unique roll and write experience called In Memory. This is a trilogy of roll and writes that you can play individually or you can play them in a row. And they don't have anything that will transfer from one game to the other. This is the front that will set the mood for the game. You have this big oak tree and you have these two individuals sitting in front. The first game in the trilogy is this game. The story of this trilogy is that you buy this farm, and it's kind of wrecked and there's not much to be salvaged, but you find these photographs and you find some notes. Which I have made here, but in time there will be some text on it that you can dig through. And the first game, as we have here, is you, the buyer, who's the one who's buying the house, is you imagining how they kind of build the early farm where they need to get some grain going and develop the farm in order to survive and so on, and being a couple in that space. The way you play this one is that before you start, you have grain over here and you have 2 grain. So out of the gate we have 2 grain to sow, and then you will look on the map and you have 2 spaces where you can sow. You have space here and you have a space here. And then you will draw some grain. And the other thing you can do on your turn is that you'll roll 2 dice. So if we roll a 9, you will activate this row here. And whenever you cross a field that has grain sown in it, you'll get 1 point. So you'll cross out this one here and you'll gain 1 extra grain. So that is basically how this game works. If you roll a 7, you'll activate the house and you get 2 grain, but nothing else. This game has it has 10 rounds. And the way you track the rounds is that you have some Polaroid images, sorry about that, where when you take one, at round 1 and you take a turn, you will write some text here. You can also choose to color it in, but you'll write some text, and that's round 1. And when you get to round 2, you'll write some more and more, and when you get to round 10, you will have played this game in full. So that's the first game. The second game in the series is this garden game here, where you find some more notes about what have been going on, and this is mainly from the woman's perspective. She had control over the garden and tended to that, while the man tended to the farm and so on. The way you play this one is that you need a pen and 2 dice. You start by drawing in the shade. So you roll 2 dice, you get a number for the first one, and if you get the same number for the second die, you'll add 1 to it, except if it is a 6, you'll wrap around and go back to 1. So let's say if we rolled a 3, you'll block in this here. You will find all the other 3s. And if you're ever in doubt on where to find them, there will always be 10 of each number. And let's say we have rolled a 5, which is this, and so on. Let's just say it's more than this, but let's get on with it. Then we'll roll for likes and dislikes for the cat and the dog. So they will have plants next to them that they like. So if you roll a 6, you'll have to re-roll, and if you roll the same plant as you roll as they liked, you have to re-roll again. So they will have two different things down here. It can be the same for both cat and dog. Also taken into consideration is the symbiosis thing over here. If you want to score some points, let's say a tulip. A tulip for itself cannot score any points. So you have to have a tulip next to this plant down here. Like so. Now the tulip score points, but this plant does not score any points now. So that plant needs to be next to this one. And if you have two tulips here, these will both score points because one of them is adjacent to that one. But let's say we had something like this. Then the biggest cluster of tulips will be the one who scores the points. You will not get any points for the single tulip you have over here. Pathways works in that sense that you have to connect them, either that way or down there or like that way, or like this. But they have to be connected. If they're not connected, it won't score any points. And then you also can get some weeds in your garden. If you roll a 6, there's a catch to it, and you will have some weed in your garden. And for every single weed you have, it's a -1 point, and that's -2 already. Down here you have some abilities that can negate the roll, or like mitigate some stuff. So that was that game. The last game in the series is that one. So here we have the man of the house, his last wish. And his last wish is to make not a farm, but like make nature come back to this area, because he kind of cultivated it completely, and the woman didn't want, she wanted more nature into the area basically. So his last wish is to get nature back. And the way you do this is that you have, let me just, you have 10 rounds here. Each round you roll 2 dice, so you'll get a weird shape and you get some square shapes. The weird shape rolled with a dotted die will get a weird shape again, and you'll get a tree or like lake on it. So let's say we rolled 2 1s. So we will have our cottage here. We'll let chimney, some smoke. So roll 2 1s, and we have to start adjacent to the cottage, so we can like make this tree here. So that was that one, and that one. And then we will have to add the square to it, like so. Because when you roll, you have to place them adjacent. If you roll a 5, there's another rule that negates this rule, saying that you can place these two anywhere on the map, basically. And when you have surrounded an octagon, you will get some animals into the area. So if you have needle trees all around this one, you will get a deer here. But you don't have to get needle trees all the way around. It just have to the majority of the squares filled have to be of the kind that these animals like. So if the majority is lakes, then you get a fish. If it is broadleaf trees, you get birds, and so on. Things to consider is that you have to roll dislikes. So if this was a needle tree, for every needle tree you have around a fish, they won't score any points, basically. Also, the symbiosis thing applies here as well. So needle trees only score points if they're next to the broadleaf tree. Another thing is that you will get some animals into the area, and then if you have a combination of animals, you will get some abilities. And that's kind of it for the last game. One more thing. As you can see out here, we have some notes. So you can find some notes from this old man who lived here and the woman. And this basically is an appendix to the main sheet, as you see here. So if you want to draw a little bit different, you can use the notes to see what else you can draw. But it basically works. It has nothing to do with game mechanics. It's only another way to draw stuff. But the needle trees all score the same way. They are all needle trees. The broadleaf trees all score the same way. The flowers and the grass up here. And there's some notes in here that the old guy wrote and the woman wrote. And that's the game, or the games. Yeah.